Okay, as far as social distancing is concerned, you're hearing it from me live. It's over. It's over. I watched a dude literally on the outside of our fence, right here, have a cup and a straw and was drinking out of it, and then I think he took the straw out and gave it to another guy, and the guy drank it. It's over.
Gross.
So, everybody's back to normal. Get back to shopping.
They aren't back.
Get back to work. Because it's over. I'm telling you, people.
Do you think it should be over?
Hell no. But do I think that people can go any longer without work? Hell no. I mean, look. Everybody talks about it like it's health versus finances, but that's not really true. It's really health versus health. Yeah. Because people need to eat, and people got to go to work to eat. So, which health is more important? Your medical health or your stomach health? Your eating health? Your rent health? Your all of those things? Which one's more important?
Well, you saw did you see the thing that in California they traced back the spread of COVID-19 to nail salons?
No.
Because of everybody's in there for hours and they're blowing the air conditioning and blah blah blah, and the air conditioning spreads it, and so from what I read,
I always thought air conditioning had HEPA filters.
You've seen what comes out of those air conditioners.
I remember when I was buying a filter for our furnace, and it had a HEPA filter.
But people don't clean them
You're
regularly. You don't change
them
regularly. But you have to clean the inside of the thing, because when we were in Thailand, if we didn't get it done every 3 to 6 months, that damn thing was spilling water into the house.
Yeah, but you're talking about a different kind of thing. You're not talking about the kind that we had in our home in Thailand.
They have
not
those
air conditioners.
They have those air conditioners in.
Yeah, but it's not the same. In big buildings, they should have a larger system outside.
They don't necessarily. I've seen lots of those in pictures all over the world.
Central air is still central air.
What makes you think that these little nail salons have central air?
They might. I'm just saying it's potential. Mm-hmm. Both things could be existing at the same time.
However, that was something they said. I read this week as well that there's a woman in Dallas who opened her salon going against the orders from the mayor and the governor, and was jailed for 7 days because of it.
I don't know if putting people in jail is so smart either.
Well, it's because she blatantly disregarded the order.
I'm saying putting people in jail.
No, but wait. This story got better.
Can you social distance in jail?
No. But this got better. Because she was a white woman, small business owner, this was the reason given. Because she was a white small business owner, the governor changed the rules so she could get out of jail.
You're telling me the governor changed the rule, changed something for one person?
Changed the order because he didn't think it was fair that this white woman, small business owner, was jailed for opening her business before everybody else was supposed to.
Well, Trump's been saying open back up for weeks.
Did you see last night? Oh, maybe it came out after you went to bed. Ivanka's assistant has tested positive. So now that's Trump's valet and Ivanka's assistant. And Trump has said he is going to be getting tested every single day.
Which I don't understand, because you can't get tests
You can't
anywhere
get
else
tests
in
if
the
you're
United
dying.
States.
You can't get tests.
If you're not symptomatic,
No.
you don't get to take a test.
But
is Trump symptomatic?
Even if you're symptomatic, you don't get tests sometimes. Look at the black nurse who was turned away from 4 different hospitals, even though she had been exposed, she was symptomatic, and by the time she finally got someone to give her a test, she died just, 2 days later?
I'm telling you, everybody wants to talk about there's a new normal and all this stuff. Basically, the new normal is COVID-19 is just another thing that we will have in our world that it's not gonna go anywhere. So it's just gonna keep going through populations.
All right,
Herd immunity is a thing that will happen eventually, but I guess this is the survival of the fittest thing.
I guess. I have a question for you.
I don't have answers.
So, as an American citizen, do you ever feel compelled or entitled to...
Every time somebody uses the word compelled, I think of The Exorcist.
Compelled or entitled to criticize openly and voraciously another country's government or government officials?
I'm kind of not understanding your question. Do I feel compelled
or entitled
to say what I think about another government?
No, to voraciously.
I know, that's just a matter of degree, but to say what I think about another government in the negative. What I don't like is what you're saying.
Yep.
You're asking me
in detail. So if I posted a...
Entitled?
Uh-huh. Entitled.
Like, because I'm American, I'm allowed to tell other
countries
and their governments what they should and shouldn't be doing?
And their citizens. Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't think I'm entitled to do that because I'm American. Okay. I think I'm entitled to do that because I'm human.
Okay. So...
Period. So, in other words, that same analysis on country C, we'll call it China, would be the same analysis pointing right back at the United States. So, in other words, the United States doesn't escape the analysis of what's going on from me. I don't see it as everything is right in the United States and then pointing the finger at everybody else around the world saying they're wrong. You see what I mean? So should people do this in order to make the world a better place, learning from each other? Like, for example, China has already essentially beat COVID-19. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't everybody be looking at what they did in China, how they did it, and breaking it apart and then saying, okay, are these things that we could do in our societies to help not only get over the thing, but how to open back up again and blah, blah, blah. Shouldn't that, they're the first, they're the earliest, they're the most ahead.
Yep.
So shouldn't we be looking at that as this is where we're trying to get to? Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people are saying, no, don't look at China. It's like, but you kind of have to look at all of China and Asia because they've been dealing with it longest. So, and that's not me being negative towards China. It's more positive towards China because they have had it and they did kind of shut it down.
And they have 1 billion plus people.
Right. And so, okay, how does the rest of the world now deal with this situation? And we should be passing, I can't, me personally, I can't go and say that China should have business norms and China should have a certain level of ethics and morality and all these other things because the rest of the world has them and they're operating in the world now. They're not operating solely alone behind their wall.
Right.
All right, so they should be
inviting the world in.
Right, and they are reaching out.
Right.
Okay. Now, if that's the case, shouldn't the world be doing the same thing in the opposite direction? Mm-hmm. So that to me, does that answer your question?
It does. I've just had this week. I've really struggled with this because we're expats. We live in these countries for years. The shortest period of time we've ever lived in a country is 2 years. And so even though we live here, we work here, we pay taxes here, I don't feel like I have the right to constantly criticize the government. I would never even presume to criticize a government or the inner workings of a government or government officials from a country I'd never even visited.
Okay, but are you saying criticize or be critical?
Both.
I think that's your dude. Yeah. We'll be back again.
Oh.
Enjoy Karen playing polka music. I wish I had the Roadcaster. If I had the Roadcaster, I could hit the button and play the polka music.
Dare I even ask?
Huh? You've seen the Roadcaster.
Oh.
Yeah. If I had the Roadcaster, I could have just hit the button, played the polka music. Well, it's not really. People don't like polka music, so it's not really polka music. It's delivery music.
All right. So anyway, what I was saying about the whole criticizing, I've noticed that several of my friends and a few family members, mostly friends though, that are Australian are really horribly critical of the United States and the politics, and I've noticed it over the years, but it seems like with the current COVID situation, it's even worse, and a lot of them are spreading misinformation. They're spreading either the Chinese version or the Russian version, but it's not, they have no context from the other side. So I have two that I'm thinking of in particular that are constantly spreading misinformation about things that are going on in the States and how the States are the ones who started this virus and they created it in a lab and blah 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 blah. And that's simply not true. But I wonder, and they're not in the same part of Australia, nor would they even know one another. But they're the same. There's stuff that's coming from them is almost the same every day. And one of them, when she posts things, and if I say anything about anything, the rest of the Australians come back and discount anything that's said that's factual. So, for example, they're saying that the United States created the virus, and they're murdering the scientists who are working on, or who are close to curing the problem or creating the vaccine. And so, it's just more proof that the United States created this, and their plan is to kill the people. And I'm thinking, but the guy who was murdered, the scientist who was murdered, who was creating the vaccine, was murdered by another guy who was working with him. It was a murder-suicide situation. It had nothing to do with it.
Why are you even having this conversation?
I didn't say anything. I'm just thinking this in my head as
why are you...
I'm just looking
why are you
why
coming
is this
in because I don't have any contact with any of this. So why are you coming in contact with conspiracy theories?
Well,
like, do you come in contact with all the other conspiracy theories that are out there in the world?
No.
Like, is it your
this one person?
Is it this group of people that are conspiracy theorists?
Well, the one person, yes, she is a conspiracy theorist, and most of the time I read the stuff that she posts and I just scroll on by. I don't even engage because I'm just like, this is bullshit, and we all know it's bullshit. But if this is what you want to believe,
that's just like the Hennessy curing the COVID-19. Why would you engage with that?
I don't engage. I just see it. But it just made me wonder, like, what is it about Australian culture, Australian mindset, maybe, that it makes them feel entitled to constantly criticize and attack.
Why do you think it's Australian?
Well, I haven't seen it from any other country.
What do you mean? Rachel Maddow does it every fucking day.
No.
Keith Olbermann, every day. Fox News, every day. Toward Democrats.
That's their own people.
Okay, why is it different?
My point is, what about them as a group makes them feel entitled to attack other countries' forms of government when they don't even know how the government works? Like, I wouldn't even presume to start criticizing the British government because I don't know how it works.
But you could say that, what's his name, Boris Johnson, has done an awful job at containing the COVID-19 inside of his country. I mean, he got it. Right?
He did.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, if you're talking about people from outside critiquing what the people of another country are doing, I mean, you could have that conversation, couldn't you? To me, I don't see it as something for me to talk about only because, one, don't give a damn.
Right,
but,
and that's another part of it.
But, I mean, the conversation could be had. I mean, if you're a person who talks politics around the world or international politics, or
like
you could have that conversation.
When the teachers here start talking about their president, and they talk about their president the way most people talk about Trump, myself and the other American teacher, we never ever enter into that conversation. We live here. One, I don't know.
Well, you don't think it was right? You don't think it was wrong for the government, through the president, but the representative of the government, to be telling people that it was okay to go and have rallies and to be around back in, what was that? March? You don't think that was wrong? Well, then why can't you say that? What does that have to do with, I mean, you're really not talking about policy. You are talking about one person's actions, that person being the president of the country, and then people following that person that then are put at risk. I mean, why can't you have that conversation? I guess what I said before still stands. Are you criticizing or are you being critical? And I think
the two aren't the same.
They're not the same. So if you're going to criticize and jump on conspiracy theories,
I feel like if I'm going to criticize, I need to be more informed.
But if you're going to, but being informed is what you're going to do when you are critical. And if you're going to be critical, well then sure, everybody's open to true analysis and asking the questions and getting more information and finding out what is true and versus what is false, not going down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theory. I mean, you are talking about a far more academic version of analysis than what you're talking about from this person.
I do have one Australian friend. She posts all kinds of crazy stuff too, and and she gets in arguments that I wouldn't even bother to get in arguments about, and she's arguing for the U.S. or whatever. But
why does anybody have to argue for a country?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like when she talks to me sometimes, and I and she says, "Oh, you should see all these people that are saying all these guys who are saying this, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "But why do you even bother?
Why do you care?
It's not your country. 2, it's not your government. 3, nothing any of you says has any bearing on what happens over here. So why waste your energy? I don't get that. But something that she does."
From a critical standpoint. I don't get it from a criticizing standpoint.
Right. But that's the difference, is they're criticizing, they're not being critical of. And one of the things that she does is she will ask questions. Can you do blah, blah, blah in this situation? How does this situation affect whatever? And she's the only person in this group that will actually ask the questions. But she's also lived outside of Australia.
But it's not about this one individual.
No.
Okay, so you're asking in general, should people really do this? What end? Why are you even asking that question? Because
it's something that I've noticed,
sure, why not?
Because I'm in all these groups from all over the world, all these different expat groups, and it's something I see over and over and over again. But it's just this one group of citizens that are the most vocal. And I wondered, is it just me who's like, I don't feel like I have the right to criticize another country without any information? I don't have any information. Okay. I know the Mexican president, that he's unpopular, but I don't follow very much of what he does. I try not to get into the politics of the country because I can't make any differences in the.
But just because you can't make a difference doesn't mean you don't have an opinion. I mean, isn't that what we told people in China every day? I told my students that every day.
But they were Chinese.
But they couldn't make a difference. They couldn't stop it. They couldn't start it. They couldn't affect any real change in the politics that were happening to them. But they could have an opinion about it, and that's what I kept telling them, was that they should know enough of the facts of what was going on to then have an opinion, because in other places in the world they do have opinions about what their government is doing, or what the policies are, or what the laws that are being made, or even just being discussed. But some of these things might be affecting them. Like I used to tell them, you're planning on going outside of China for education. Don't you think that the politics of that other place are going to affect that one way or another? And how is that going to affect you?
Yeah.
I mean, Trump, closed down the borders for everyone. So don't you think all those people that are going to school right now in China are waiting for them to open that back up? What if they're not even accepting applications? Well, don't you think that's going to affect them? Yeah. Don't you think that a student that is in China right now, that is looking to be in, say, the U.S. or Canada or whatever in the fall, is going to be affected by their or by Canada or the U.S.'s politics in the fall? I mean, yeah, they should know, but I don't buy the idea that just because it's not your country that you shouldn't pay attention to what's going on in the world, especially when the world, as we're finding out more and more every day, the world is 100% connected. I can't get a battery for my laptop because of what's happening in COVID-19 and then the importing of goods. I can't get it. They won't ship it here.
Right.
So think about that. I mean, that's a super minor thing.
Yeah.
Imagine all the other stuff that's happening all over the world.
Maybe that's why I can't get soy sauce.
Maybe.
I've ordered it like 6 times and I cannot get soy sauce.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, you have to understand.
Because I only ordered the Chinese kind.
Yeah, where's it coming from? You know, so
Oh, 2.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Thanks.
Right. Don't worry. Relax. Don't breathe. No polka. So anyway, I tend not to. I don't think that it's wrong for people to be critical of other governments and other actions, and I think they need to be more critical around the world. 1 second. I think they need to be more critical around the world because the world is so connected.
Well,
we are so. It's just I was yelling about this with my mom. Is we all live on this one ball. What Kennedy said is true. And stop trying to act like we're all divided up. We're finding out right now with COVID-19. We are not that divided. We are not that different. No, Chinese people are not a separate kind of people on the planet. We are all being affected by this one thing. You would think that we would all be more critical of what are they doing in Poland or what are they doing in Sweden and what's going on there and why are they opening back up or what's happening in Germany and how is this going to affect travel or us moving to Poland or all of this stuff, because it is all connected. Stop acting like that your country is different than and not going to be affected by and
right.
all of that. No, it's just not true. It's coming. No matter what. It's just a matter of speed at that point.
Right.
You have to do the finger thing now. If you want to follow the Traveling Farrs, you can definitely hit us up at I'm pointing to our Patreon information that's down there somewhere. I think it's patreon.com/thetravelingfars. Patreon. We want money. All right. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever good podcasts are sold. You can find us on the Instagram and the Twitters at Traveling Farrs. The email, travelingfars@gmail.com, and the blog space, thetravelingfars.blueberry.net. No E's in the blueberry. Got all that?
Good.
Yeah, did you do the thing?
I did it.
Did you feel like a young teenage boy?
I did not feel like a young teenage boy.
That's it. That's all I got, man. Okay. I got nothing else.
Great.
Say goodbye to the people.
Bye, people. Bye, people. Bye, people.
Peace!
I even tried to do his hand, but I'm not good at that.
You can always just...
The happy